I'm so excited because Tom Nicoli is with us today. And Tom is, if I think about hypnosis, Tom is definitely one person that belongs into that pot of people that I always recommend, people who know what they're talking about. That's about it. Tom has also certifications in NLP, and he does a lot of coaching. He also coaches hypnotists like me and others. So he not only does hypnosis and trains other people to become hypnotherapists, but also coaches hypnotists to become even better hypnotists. So he does a lot. Other than that, oh my God, Tom is a wonderful, wonderful guitar player. Tom also had a very big, I don't want to say breakthrough, it's success with a show on weight loss, right? You were also on TV, you were interviewed for that. You had a big program around weight loss. And he also had his own TV series, TV show.
A TV show. I had my own TV show, yeah.
So a lot of things that Tom does. But today we're going to talk about something that you might have heard before. I'm not sure. It's something called stress. Now, some people know it more than others, but we all have stress in some form or shape. Tom will talk to you about the types of stress, and he has a small presentation to make, and he'll take you through everything. He takes you through is so wonderful. So, Tom, I just want to turn the camera to you, and please take over and do your magic like you always like to do.
I love it. So, I want to thank everyone for being here. It's really cool to see you here, and those who will listen later. And I guess, Mona, at this point, I'll share my screen just to bring up a few slides, and then we'll chat over them and such. Yeah, we'll make it very casual and very casual. How's that sound? All right, so folks, let me just show you some information that I've actually presented at the Yankee Dental Congress in Boston with 25,000 attendees. And it can be presented to anyone, anywhere, because unfortunately, this word stress, people have accepted to be commonplace. They're like, well, everybody's stressed. I'm not. A lot of people watching usually don't get stressed. There's an immediate thing I tell people, if I know they have a belief system, if they're highly stressed. I tell them, well, you're a walking contradiction because you have a belief system. It should lower your stress, so up your faith game. So if people are stressed and they have a belief system, tell them to up their faith game. Because if you really practice your faith, then you should stress less than other people. So let's just take a quick look here. We have good and bad stress. We know this, right? Get out of the way of the coming car, or sit there in a cubicle panicking all day when there's nothing going on but your own thoughts. I just want to point out some of the dangers because it is amazing. But we can almost say that the vast majority, over 90% of all the things that will kill you are triggered by stress. Now, somebody could say, what about the car accident? You might got in that car accident because you were stressed out and you weren't focused and you weren't in the moment. So the stress was the contributing factor to you getting in the car accident. So as we go through, I'm not going to go through all this stuff because it's very simple to explain. Just about every single physical process you have and emotional process you have will be negatively affected with continual stress. So it puts us at risk constantly, not just physically, but emotionally as well. We know that it's called the silent killer, right? Well, let me ask you this about the physical function. Who here knows of a couple who couldn't get pregnant? Then they said, screw it. They went on vacation and they came back pregnant. Or she came back pregnant. Well, that's only because they stopped focusing on it. It's the same exact thing as when a name doesn't come to you on a test and you know the answer or the name. But I tell people your mind is like a garden hose. The more you squeeze it, the less will flow. So stop squeezing it and allow it to flow in order for the things that you want to happen. So we're talking about procreation even. We're talking about skin disorders. We're talking about migraines and tension headaches and back pain, and it goes on and on and on. So now we see, because of migraines and back pain, that stress is leading to a lower profit margin in businesses. I think it was 20 years ago, I read a report that $20 billion a year in America alone was lost in production money, profit, because of back pain alone. And it's stress related. So we go through all of the complications and all of the problems that stress leads to. It doesn't matter what part of your body, just know your whole body, even at the cellular level, and your cells make up your body. Exactly. That's the response everyone should have right now. So what do? Well, first we look at what causes it. We know money causes it, right? In work and family and personal concerns and personal health and safety and relationships and death. But guess what? None of these causes would be contributing factors if you upped your faith game and you had a different perception of the circus we call life. I'm going to talk a little bit about that, okay? Now, some people will say, that's stupid and ridiculous. Some people are going to say, I'm in 100%. And some people are going to think it's a little crazy. I am a little crazy, but I know what I'm talking about. So stick with me. Other causes that people don't even think about. Loud volume, acoustic stress. Your perceptions and beliefs cause everything. So that's obviously there. Worry. I think worry, like the word hate, shouldn't even be in your vocabulary, because worry is just putting holes in your boat. And then it's mainly the lack of managing stress triggers and responses. We could go right there and we could just talk on that. So it's not what happens in life ever. And I know, like some of you know, like, you fall in a wine glass and almost take out your brain, and you take out your left eye, you get paralyzed, you can't talk, you can't eat, you can't drink, you can't work, all that stuff. I know, I get it. Shit happens. But how do you react to it? So it's not what happens. It's like right now what's going on. Can't tell you how many people I've unfriended and how many people I won't even watch. I don't participate. You'll never see me go back and forth and post and comments on social media, because I just back off, watch it all and go, wow, like, wow. And I just do what I know is better, because I'm reacting differently. I'm reacting in a more positive way, which is just your life. However you react here is how you're going to do it over here. What you do here is what you do everywhere. So don't blame anything if you say, well, it's because of that. No, it's how you reacted. So you take ownership for all this. So when we manage those stress triggers and those responses, then all this other stuff won't even come into play. Okay. So what do? Well, this is one thing you could do. It's a stress reduction kit. And after you're done there, just do it again and do it again. But what can we do for real instead of, banging your head off a wall? Well, eating moderate levels of dark chocolate reduce stress hormone levels, cortisol, right? And there's antioxidants called flavonoids start to release. Laughing is fantastic, and it's contagious. You could be in the shittiest mood ever. You could be the most upset you've ever been. And if there's enough laughter going on, eventually you'll break your mood, because it's so contagious. And I think it's a natural effect because it's so necessary. And how do you like this one? Though all of us quarantined alone are having a trouble with this. Penetrative sex reduces stress hormones, but if you're alone, that's a challenge. So what do? Maybe we forgive. So when I would present this, we would do a group exercise out loud, and people would start purging. And it was amazing how many tears would happen when somebody just forgave themselves even. What right now could any of you forgive yourself for that causes a thought that creates stress and tension? So there are all these natural, simple, easy, most immediate ways to really manage this thing called stress, but none of it will work. None of what I share will work, or anything you ever learn, if you're not honest. We know as practitioners, those of us who work with other people, if the person is not honest, and what I say is own your shit. Be responsible and own whatever it is you have as a behavior, thought pattern, process, the habits you have going on, your reactions, Once you're honest and you own whatever goes on with you, through you, from you, out of you, then we can begin getting better and we can begin making changes. If not, they're going to rationalize and justify everything you do to defend their position to be right. So the first thing I do is I get somebody to that at least maybe position. I say, look, don't say yes or no to what I share with you. Thing is to stop saying no. Just say maybe. Just maybe. At least give it a fair shot. If I can't get a person there, what's the point of working with them? It's just ridiculous. And I'm not here to prove anything. So if you're not on board, we're not working together. It's that simple. That's how easily I weed out people. Now, just look at this, right? And it's going to lead to a technique that I share all the time with people, and it's the simplest, easiest technique ever. What you're seeing here are images, right? And you're seeing images that promote a reaction. So one of the most immediate ways that we get people to change their stress response is we create go-to images. So I'm going to stop here for a moment. I'm going to talk with Mona. Stop sharing my screen, and we're going to share this go-to image exercise. So I could stop sharing my screen here. There we go. I mean, I only use this all the time. So, go-to images. What could I possibly mean by a go-to image? Mona, what do you think?
A smile would be an image that people see.
Okay, but what I'm talking about are images for the person. So here's a person, right? Now, there is no, well, I mean, there is, but there's no external world. What's outside of us is a circus. What's outside of us are just influences and things that are happening that you'll define differently than anyone else will, or maybe similar to somebody else. So what's going on outside is not how the world, or how life is experienced. All life experiences are internal. So you may see something outside of you, but you will feel it inside. You may hear something outside of it, but you have a thought inside. So we're looking to have people understand what's behind the eyelids is the whole world. That's their life. That's the universe, right? So the go-to images I speak of are images that a person creates. Like I just got one. My son Jesse is not quite 30. I have a go-to image of Jesse when he was about 4, 5, in his blue footy onesie pajama, curly blonde hair, just freaking adorable and just lovely, and with this big guitar hanging off him. That's one of my go-to images. So you see, I have people create 3, 4, 5, at least 3 go-to images of either things they've actually experienced, which are better because it will immediately trigger the association. Because you see, knowing the subconscious mind has a language, and the language is imagery. You know, a picture's worth 1,000 words. It doesn't matter what you say. It's what you see. So the image will have an immediate emotional reaction to it, association to it. And people will react to that associated feeling. They'll feel it, right? So whatever's going on, whether their eyelids are open or closed, I have them just create their go-to image and go to it and now manage the feeling. So if you feel like crap and you learn this, shame on you. It means you have issues and you want to stay stuck in that, or you can get out of it if you want. So I want everybody right now, I want you all to create your first go-to image. Was it with a child? Was it with a pet? Was it with someone else or alone? A time when you felt either like the way I just felt, love and happiness and joy. It was all that. I mean, boy, I used to spend so much time with Jesse when he was little. It was amazing. And it was some of the, the best memories ever. An accomplishment, an achievement, something that gives you that feeling that you would want, that you would look for. Okay? So create that first image. Where, when, and then build on the image. And like, for instance, when I see Jesse in that blue onesie pajama, I also know the bottom will white, like plastic, across the floor. There was a zipper from the crotch all the way up. There was a little patch, embroidered patch, whether it was a bunny or some silly thing. He was in a living room of an apartment we lived in before I became successful, and we were just getting by week to week. The brown rug in that middle room in the apartment, I see it all. So, you elaborate on it, you build on it, and bring in all the emotion you can. Okay. And when that's set, create another one. And maybe they're different as far as categories. Maybe one is with children, maybe one is with pets, maybe one is an accomplishment, an achievement, whatever it may be. But something that will dominate the feeling you don't want, because this thing is just so set in your mind, in your cells, in your tissues. That energy is just there. So when you bring it up, you can't help but feel it. Okay? So that's the most immediate thing in order to manage emotion. You manage what's going on between your ears. Like Jack Nicklaus said, golf's a game of inches. The most important 7 are between your ears. Well, life's a game. Okay, and it's a game of inches. The most important of the 7 between your ears. You manage your thoughts and feelings, you manage your life. So this is a way to manage the feelings, the energetic response you're having, called an emotion, that's negative and you don't want it. Now, before we do that, though, what I want everyone to do is acknowledge what they feel and ask themselves, okay, where's that come from? So I also get people to do what we really are, and that is to accept the role of the parent. You might have some physical people in your life that were your biological parents, but they don't parent you. I hope they stopped parenting you a long time ago. Like I always say to my mom, you know what I tell people, don't you? I already have a mother, and I don't listen to her either. And she'll go, I know. Like I stopped listening to you guys a long time ago. So when something comes up, be the parent, not the child. So realize that you are the one that has to tell the child to go to bed when it's time, not to eat that stuff because you're going to get a bigger ass, not to, smoke that or drink that because maybe it's going to kill you. So we have to also be the child and the parent, right? We have to be our own responsible guide. So as the parent, when the child feels something and reacts, say, whoa, where's that coming from? What's that all about? Get very neutral. Because the thing is, this way you can become more aware and understand yourself even better when you're honest about whatever is going on inside that's coming out. Like I got sick and tired of so much stuff that I'm seeing and hearing, and I avoid all of it. It's just like there's the 3-ring circus, and one of the rings is loud and uncomfortable. And why are you watching it? Don't watch it. What's wrong with you? That's a choice, right? And I told everybody this, and this is something you can use in your practice. And I didn't make this up. If you were an orange and I cut you in half and I squeezed you, what's coming out is bitter, loud, it's rancid. And you have to own that, because the only thing that can come out of you when you get squeezed is what's already inside of you. If you blame anything for the way you react, or if your client blames anything for the way they react, they're not taking ownership, because the way someone reacts is what's already inside. So I don't take credit when people do well or badly. It's like, no, that's on you. I'm just the GPS, you follow it or you don't. But no blaming. Blame is just what we got to get rid of. So one is, in order to manage the stress that's going on, first acknowledge where it's coming from and why. Why am I acting like that? That's peculiar. I get it. That's how I always did it. Well, now I'm managing it. And then use that go-to image exercise as one exercise. We know EFT and havening. I teach havening to everybody. I think havening is like, I never got the results from EFT that people tell me all about. I'm like, all right, I just haven't got those results, but havening has done some remarkable stuff with my clients. But what we want to do is get to the point where we don't have to even use these exercises so often. Oh, something I share with my clients. At first, it's going to take a little conscious effort, but after a while, it will just become habit. So that's just the way you become after a while, right? But the idea is we want to get to the point where there's no need to manage the reaction because the reaction's not there. How do we do that? Well, with a lot of work. How we do that is, with the work that we do with people, but how we do it also on our own. Like, say we want to start just taking ownership, and you're not going to spend the money or the time or just go out and get help, whatever it is. Well, you need to do a lot of self-reflection, don't you? You need to start reframing your approach to the thing called life. Once I became, well, when you have situations that happen, I believe everyone goes through something because it forces you back to yourself. So when my eye accident happened, I mean, I just like, okay, I won't see. I'll have to deal with that. And I also said I bought mastervisionary.com back then. And with more less sight, I'll have more vision, which is how it went. But I started working on myself intently. I mean, really, really, really seriously. And with a master herbalist for 7 years, I did so much work on me. I did so many ceremonies that people fly to the rainforest to do. I'll just leave it at that. Like far out ceremonies, that one ceremony can change your life with a shaman in the rainforest. I've done 11 of these. So I didn't have to go to the rainforest, but I've done 11 of those ceremonies. And it allowed me to really self-reflect and become more aware of what needed to be released in order for me not to have stress triggers already accumulated and built in. So the only way we're really going to get to the place where we can live calmer and without these triggers and these responses that are literally killing the human body and the mind, your emotional self, is by doing self-work. And it's releasing the ego, because once you don't have to be right, even when you're right, you'll reduce a lot of stress. You'll be surprised at how much stress you release when you don't get in debates. You go, you know what? Maybe you're right. I never thought of it that way. How I shut people down quickly. And I learned this from this woman who her husband owned a dental lab that I used to manage when I was a full mouth reconstruction dental technician. She said, look, you're out there arguing with these people. Don't argue with them. They're never going to see it your way. She goes, you just say this to them. You know what? That's interesting. I never thought of it like that. I'm like, okay. So now when I said to some people, they go, are you dismissing me? I'm like, no. So avoid the debates. Avoid the crap of ego generation where I have to be right. That's my ego, right? And ego, as we've heard, is edge God out. So I'd rather be with the power that breathes me and beats my heart, that is the God energy, and be a part of that rather than I know better. And maybe I do know better, but you know what? If it's not going to put me in a better position, why beat the drum of being right? So being right isn't always being right. So that's another thing we want to do to reduce this stress response, is to realize I don't have to be involved in all this. I don't even have to be heard. I don't have to be right as long as I know. But that's not an easy task for most people. It really isn't. No matter how lovely we are, that ego is a tough one, man. Here's something else. When I just said that, something popped in mind. Learn how to be self first without being selfish. So back to, I know I already have a mother. I don't listen to her either. I don't do what anybody says. Haven't for most of my life. Once I got old enough to realize, well, this is silly. When people say, you're such a selfish bastard, I go, okay, why? You do whatever you want. Well, that's my responsibility since birth. I'm supposed to do me. I am the only one that can take care of me. You can't, you won't. I'm the only one. If the oxygen mask falls, right, put yours on first, even if you were children. You can't pour from an empty cup. That's what creates martyr. The martyr is the one who takes no time for themselves and do everything for everybody else. Well, you're a moron. You were conditioned improperly, very poorly. So be self first, not selfish, because when you say, well, we want you to come with us, I go, well, who's being selfish? Oh, so I'm good in your eyes if I go do what you want me to do. Look at the hypocrisy, the contradiction here. So learn how to be self first. So when you do you first, then you won't be caught up in, yeah, but I have to do this and I can't do that. And look what they have me doing. Like, well, shame on you. You do you, I'll do me. You stay in your lane, I'll stay in mine. You know what I mean? But people are too caught up in what other people think because they want to be liked. They want to be validated. I mean, I liked being liked. I liked having my ego stroked, but it's not worth it if you got to go through all the negative that gets you that approval you're looking for. Plus, if you don't approve yourself, what the hell's the point? The world treats you the way you treat yourself. So love yourself, respect yourself, admire yourself. See, I know how good I am at many things, but I also know that once I say that, there's a 12-year-old that will blow my doors off just to put me in my place. That's how the universe works. So I know how talented, how smart, how whatever I am. I also know that that's just my range. But there are people, I mean, I'm 60 now, so there are people that are 10 that can do some of the things I do. And then there are people who probably just did something for a month who could do what I've done for 20 years. I don't know. But at least know yourself enough to know there's always room for improvement. But look at how wonderful I really am. Or as Zig Ziglar wrote on one of his books on page 1, I am from the source of greatness, therefore I'm great. The end. The greatness is within you. That's what the Master Visionary coaching is all about. We're all born as Master Visionaries. From the moment you were born, people are sucking you away from that, pulling you away from it. And listen, look at who we're listening to. They may be lovely people, and they might have been smart and all that, or they may have been horrible, but they're just other people. So they're your parents, big deal. You just thought they were smart because they knew that was a cow and you didn't. But they're not that smart, and they don't know everything. And maybe it worked for them, but it's not what you're supposed to do. But this is a big task for people to get to self. If they get to self and start in here and use that as the world, and then out here is secondary. But in the meantime, the most immediate thing is the go-to images, and then havening, or I call it bilateral exercise, whatever you want to call it. You know that if you're engaged in one part of the brain, either you're thinking, or you're feeling, you're analytical or you're emotional, right? Well, if you cross over, if you engage both hemispheres, then they cross over and you can't be up and down this pattern in this neural pathway, right? So I just have people, if they're driving, tap the wheel, or if they're not driving, just cross their arms and tap their shoulders or toss something back and forth. I would have people with anxiety sit in front of me in one of my offices. I used to have 2 offices in 2 different states. Now it's all from home for the last 5 years. And I would just give them the remote to my sound system, and they would toss it back and forth, and their anxiety would go like from an 8 to a 4. Plus, when you're doing this, you got something else to focus on. It's a distraction method as well. Well, we're taught not to think of ourselves when it's the most responsible thing you'll ever do.
Yeah.
You know, what's that girl's name? Ariana Grande, singer. I watched her interviewed once, and I thought, wow, this girl's got her shit together big time. The guy asked her, what about all the choreography and the music lessons and the interviews and the traveling? She goes, what are you talking about? He goes, what must be so hard? First of all, hard is not the word, it's difficult. Hard is this, and that means impenetrable to your mind. So use the words properly. It must be so difficult, so challenging. She said, nope, that's just what I do. She said, the only work in life is taking care of yourself. It's like right on, she gets it. That's the only real responsibility, the only real work you have. Like when I'm sitting there, I like to ease into my morning. I used to jump into it. But when I ease in, I have my cup of coffee. I sit and put on beautiful backing tracks on YouTube on the big screen, maybe an Abraham Hicks video. Then let's get into my day, and I do yoga, I exercise. Maybe I go for a walk as well, read something, and I just ease into my day this way. And that's me being the most responsible I'll ever be, which is self-care. You know, people go, boy, this lockdown, I'm going to be 40 pounds heavier. Well, what the hell? Rewind what you just said and look at it. You're giving yourself permission to be 40 pounds heavier. How about you be 40 pounds lighter and you change your whole lifestyle by the time this is all over? I mean, what the hell? But people don't like to do the work. I say that about almost everything. If you don't succeed in this day and age with everything for free online, then you just don't want to watch a video or read an article or sit and do something. You don't want to do the work. If you don't want to do the work, don't expect the results. And I don't believe in hard work because I used to work hard in my life. I believe in applying myself comfortably to have amazing benefit and gain. Well, that's the thing, right? It's an ongoing journey. You'll never know everything. You'll never learn everything. You'll never know enough. So it's just an ongoing life of progress and development. You know, you fail forward fast. You think of something, you learn a little bit, you apply it, and then you tweak it as you go. That's why there's version 1.0 and 2.2 and 3.1. So I'm like 3.1 right now. I'm about to release a 3.1 version of Tom Nicoli. And it's going to be bigger and better than anything I've done before. And I've been working on that now. I think I was telling you earlier, I decided to take a few steps back. I've been coasting for a long time on my saturation and referrals and such. So I threw 20 grand into my business. I hired a team and we're revamping everything. Everything. This is the time. I don't focus on the 80%. I don't focus on the 80 people who said they were going to come to my gig and didn't come. I focus on the 20% that came. It's the Pareto Principle. It's the Italian economist Pareto who came up with the 80-20 rule. It's in marketing as well. Don't focus on the 80% of people that you're looking to gather. All of them. They're the ones that are going to spend $10. Focus on the 20% that'll spend 10,000. 20% of your people give you 80% of your money. So why are you focusing on the 80%? And that's what people do in their behaviors and in their life, right? They focus on the 80% of well, it's the shit. People don't like my language. That's too bad. We're all adults. So 80% of it, that's just shit. But that's what gets their attention. Focus on the 20% you want to grow and watch it grow. It will be amazing. It'll be amazing. But people have issues. We all do. Thankfully, I have less than I used to, but I'm still working on them. And you can only offer and then move on. Next. There's enough people to say next.
But for the ones who really want to, but they don't know how, what would you say to them?
They need to get help. Like I didn't know how to do plumbing or electrical engineering or wall boarding. So you get help. Sometimes you get a video and you watch it on YouTube and you learn how to do something. I learned how to, work on all my guitars by watching YouTube. And then other times you need professional help. Fear and guilt are the main reason for procrastination. Absolutely. So rethink what you've been doing, stressing to add to it. Well, this is the other part, right? That's when you need some help. When people have enough guilt or fear that limits them on their own, they're probably not going to break through this, right? But this is why there are people like us out here, but again, either they're going to look for the help or not. Some people love to stay stuck in their stuff. This is that secondary gain bit. My dad had an aunt and he said, if Ann doesn't have it, she's had it or it's coming in the mail. She was always sick. And I learned later in life, when I learned about secondary gain and such, that when all her children got old enough to move out, she became ill all the time. So that was her way to getting attention, right? Now, some people won't be able to let go of that. They just can't on their own. And a lot of people, if they don't have the means, I get it. But there's always a way, because people who are going to find a way will find a way no matter what. And people who won't, they just won't. So what about those people? What about them? We can't force people to change. I did a Facebook Live the other day, and you go watch it on my Facebook page. And I mentioned how, and if you're using what's going on right now, which so many are, to validate your political stance, I said, then you're even a bigger asshole. So you can use what's going on however you want. But you're exposing your true colors when you use something like this, not to be anything but humane and compassionate and understanding and neutral, no matter what you believe, how this happened, why it happened. I am really out there when it comes to life and what goes on, and I don't listen to the crap that we're fed. However, I just keep all this to myself and I don't get involved in what people are saying or thinking, because it's just going to add nothing but turmoil and bitterness and argument. I have conversations with people, but I really don't even talk about this thing. Don't even talk about it. I just go about my day. That's it. And I get informed and I follow what I think works. As I said to somebody recently, maybe I'm naive and ignorant. Maybe I'm not. But I didn't go shopping the other day for food with a mask on and wiping down the carriage and coming home and cleaning all the stuff I bought. I didn't. Now, I don't know if that's right or not, but that's just me being me. And I'm not debating it with anyone or arguing about it with anyone. That's the way that you should do it. And that isn't the way, because nobody knows. That's even what's worse. When nobody knows, what are you doing arguing a point? Plus, like I say, even with politics and everything else, you don't even know the truths. So what are you doing? Meanwhile, your life is going tick, 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 tick. Like John Lennon said, life's what happens while you're busy making plans. Well, you're busy arguing, trying to be right. Life's going by and you're not in it.
Question?
Well, I'll give you my answer without reading the rest of it. If
Ever?
anyone ever tries to stop you from doing things you really love to do, then you need to leave that person. You need to get them out of your personal Rolodex. You need to clear out that person from your circle of influence, man. Sheesh. Yeah, I mean, that's prevention, right? That's interruption. That's a broomstick in your spokes as you're riding your bike through life. People like that, no, go away. You don't belong in my life. I wish you well. I just don't want you working that stuff out in my space. Go away. Clear out your personal Rolodex. Who has the right to stop you from doing things you love, unless you're hurting things, so it's causing problems. But if you're doing things you love to do, you can tell everybody where to get off. And people know me well enough where they get that. They know better. I do whatever the hell I want. That's the end of it. You don't like it, that's okay, fine. But I'm also kind and considerate and generous and all that. And people know that. So I'm the one that's the parent. I say if little Tommy can come out and play, or if he can eat that, or if he's going to stay late. I'm the one that tells you if I'm going to play with you or not. You don't tell me nothing. I manage my life, me, and that which beats my heart. Nobody else. Watch your stress go away. So one of the biggest foundations of creating the non-stress response is increasing people's confidence and self-esteem. If you have massive confidence and self-esteem with an equal amount of humility, you'll have massive balance. Before I used to have massive confidence and I didn't have as much humility. So now that I've balanced it out, oh my God, what a better ride. What a better journey, what a better feeling, what a better everything. Because ego will cause you massive stress. My God. So up your faith game and increase your confidence and self-esteem, and you won't listen to other people and what they think and what they say, because you won't need their validation. Plus, you're getting validation from another knucklehead. We're all knuckleheads, and we're all brilliant and wonderful. So, who are you listening to? And even if somebody in a position of grandeur told me I was amazing, that's just their stupid ass opinion. Whatever. If the Dalai Lama told me I had to start doing X, Y, or Z to feel better and I didn't agree with it, I wouldn't do it. There's one source that knows best. Okay. And this is how I live. And this is what I help people get more toward. Hardly ever does somebody say, what do you think you want to have for dinner tonight? Where do you think you want to go on vacation this year? They'll say, what do you feel like having? Where do you feel like going? Yeah, I'm not feeling that. Well, I don't feel like it. So I know, as we've learned, there are more knowledge neurons in your gut than in your brain. That's why we say gut feeling. I have a 3-step process in all the things I do in life. And even when I just dropped that 20 grand. Question, I ask, should I do this? And I don't even have all the information, but I'll get a feeling. And the feeling was immediate. It's right there. And I went, okay. And I pulled the trigger and I did it. So far, it's working to my benefit, which it always will, because whenever I follow the feeling, it's always right, always. And even when I really want to do something, I've learned not to go against it, because I've gone against it and I've just smiled at myself when it didn't work out, saying, you knew, see, thank you for proving it again. Thanks. Next time I'll listen. So ask, feel, and follow. That's all you need to do in life. That's all you need to do. You want to reduce stress, reduce a lot of the analytics, all of that conscious thinking, which only logic can apply when you use your brain, and life's not logical. When you tell me how a tree came out of an acorn and how the acorn got in the ground, I'll listen to logic. Not logical. Food comes out of a seed? Where is it? It's not logical. So I feel, and though illogical the response may be, I ask, and whatever I feel, I follow. That reduces a ton of stress. Or call it whatever you want. I'd say whatever you call God, that's what's breathing me. That's what beats my heart. That's what creates new cells in my body every 1 to 3 years, other than my brain and heart, which is why we physically die. And that which is managing all that, why wouldn't I listen to it? I'd have to be some kind of special moron not to listen to that thing that's managing everything that I don't even know about. And the real peculiar thing is it always works. That's what's really something. It always works. So I have no doubt this new launch I'm about to do is going to take off tremendously because I'm supposed to do it because it's what I felt. That's why I'm living in North Canton, Ohio. This sure is not Boston, let me tell you. But it's all unfolding wonderfully because I felt like, yeah, okay. I came and visited. Yeah, I'll move here. I'll live here. And where I go next, I don't know. But for now, feels right. That's all I do. If it feels right, I do it. Mm-hmm. So if you're not taking care of yourself, how can you help anybody else? Plus, what quality of self are you giving? See, when I give of myself, I'm not at a deficit. Most people are waking up at a deficit, aren't they? They still need and want things that they're not doing for themselves. But I'm first, self first, not selfish. Then when I say, okay, what do you need? Instead of what now? Like, all right, how can I help you? And to be able to have the resources emotionally and intellectually and energetically and financially in any way, emotionally. You know, like Beryl knows as much as anybody about the importance of emotional intelligence and such. So what are you giving if you haven't put deposits in and everyone wants withdrawals, right? It's silly, man. And it's unnatural. It goes against the way it was supposed to be. But people can only teach us what they know. I'd rather learn what more brilliant and insightful people really know. What would be the last thing to leave everybody with? And what came to mind was this. I was born in 1959, and when I was a young kid in the 60s, people were talking about a new generation of questioning authority. Before you just listen to what parents said, do it. The clergy said it. Come on, please, please, please. They're just other people. So you learn to question authority, right? Okay. What I'd like everyone to do is to question their own beliefs. Well, I believe blank. I believe this. And beliefs are not facts. So I ask everyone to question the beliefs that they stand firm on that creates the outcome they're living. So TFAR, thoughts, feelings, actions, results. You don't like the results in your life, look at the preceded thoughts, and a lot of them are subconscious. So when you look at the thought, I said to my parents once, before my dad had passed away last year, I said to both of them, do you know how many times I've meditated and thought, wait a minute, I don't believe that. That's my parents' belief. And I put it in a box, put a cover on it, and I push it back on your doorstep, and I walk away. My dad goes, what the hell are you talking about? I said, I don't expect you to understand, but I've given you back so many of your beliefs that you put on me because I don't believe that shit at all. Not at all. You know, and I said to my dad, here's one. You believed and you taught me a good day, because it was very, very blue collar. Good day's work gets you good day's pay. He goes, yep. I go, Dad, I sat in my bathing suit with throat shirt on and talked to somebody in another country online and make $400 an hour. Yeah, I wish I had to do that. Oh, well, thank you for at least bending a little bit, being flexible. So that's just one example of what do you believe? And are they your beliefs? Or the beliefs you just accepted along the way, which the majority of all our beliefs were others' beliefs. And question those, and then release them like balloons in the air in an imagery meditation. Just imagine every single one of those beliefs being tied to a string and just see you later, never to come back, can't find its way back. That's a good place to begin right there. Start with yourself and end with yourself. Question all your own beliefs, then see where that gets you.
Love that. So let's say goodbye to you and to other beliefs that we have. Let's put them all in that whatever year and say we're ending that and goodbye and go wherever you want to. Thank you so, so much, Tom. I really, really love to have you on here, and thank you for being here.
My pleasure. It's good to see you folks.
Everybody else who was here, Mahmoud is saying a very lovely conclusion to a very lovely talk.
Excellent. That humbles me. I love it when people want to hear whatever I have to say. I hope it helps. But meanwhile, You do you. Never mind everybody else, and watch how better you get, because that's your only responsibility. How do you feel at night when you wake up, when you go to bed? And how do you feel when you wake up with yourself? So if you aren't comfortable with yourself, you better get a bigger mirror. Mona, thank you. Thank you for everything you're doing here and putting in all this time to get a lot more information out there to people in order for them to help themselves a little bit.
Well, there are so many great people and so much knowledge and so much wisdom. And not only that, but so much love and compassion that people have, people like
Right
you.
on.
And I think this is the, not this is the time, it's always the time to share love.
Yes.
Always.
Yes.
Okay, bye-bye, everybody. And thank you so much for being here. The replay will be online. You will get it as usual by email. And the contact details of Tom will be there too. Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye, everybody.